Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Pistons vs Heat, injuries. Soft tanks, 3 points and protected picks. The Detroit Pistons head to Miami to take on the Heat tonight after dismantling the New Orleans Pelicans by 46 points in their last outing. Detroit now finds themselves just a half game behind the Bucks for the 5th seed, as Milwaukee has been overtaken by the Pacers who now sit in 4th, a full game ahead of the Pistons. Every game is now crucial for possible playoff seeding even though the Pistons have clinched a spot in the postseason already. Their magic number to clinch a guaranteed playoff spot now sits at 8. The Miami Heat have been going in the other direction, losing 8 in a row, the longest losing streak in the Erik Spoelstra era. Miami has been in a freefall since the Jimmy Butler trade, just 4-15 since the trade deadline to fall to the 10th spot in the Eastern Conference. But you can throw all that out when these two teams play. The Pistons are 2-1 against the Heat this season, but there were only 3 points separating the two teams in Detroit's 2 wins. Both teams have protected picks in the 2025 draft, but unlike Miami, Detroit is not trying to keep theirs, as it is protected 1-13 and they'll be happy to send it to Minnesota if it means the team is in the playoffs and will then be in control of all of their future picks for the first time in 5 years. The Heat would currently have both the 9th and 22nd picks in the first round, as the pick they owe OKC, does anyone not owe OKC a pick, is protected 1-14, so they have every motivation to tank the rest of the season and try to use those 2 picks to reload in the summer, as their 2026 pick would then be guaranteed to go to OKC. There are plenty of subplots to this game, but most important is that Detroit needs a win to keep pace with Indiana in the standings. Detroit is still only missing Jaden Ivey, which has been one of the biggest factors this season that no one talks about. After years of having arm's-length injury reports, the Pistons have been able to stay healthy. Part of that is that Trajan Langdon went out and got guys with stellar health records, but J.B. Bickerstaff has also been very good about allocating minutes and not driving his guys into the ground. We recently complained that Isaiah Stewart would be ineligible for the all-defensive team because of this, but considering Stu has played 63 games already this season after only playing 96 total in the last 2 years combined, we can't complain too much, as 20 minutes of Stewart per night is better than none. The Heat will be missing Drew Smith and Nikola Jovic with Andrew Wiggins and Alec Burks listed as questionable. Mock draft sees Heat land 6'6" playmaker with rare combo of skills. The mock draft sees the Miami Heat land Kaspars Jakušionis. The Miami Heat are working through one of the most difficult periods in the last 17 years. They're currently on an 8-game losing streak and look like potential doormats for when the play-in tournament begins. As such, Pat Riley is likely scanning the entire basketball landscape in search of reinforcements for next season. According to a mock draft from Bleacher Report's Jonathan Wasserman, one of those reinforcements could come in the form of Kaspars Jakušionis out of Illinois. There is currently both optimism and debate about how much Kaspars Jakušionis' positional size, clever maneuvering, shot-making skill and passing IQ can offset his lack of explosiveness and quickness, Wasserman wrote. Too much recent evidence suggests skill and IQ can outweigh athletic limitations for a ball handler, particularly for a plus shooter. And despite a recent slump from behind the arc, there are years of promising shot-making data/tape for scouts to go back to from Jakušionis' time with Barcelona and Lithuania. Jakušionis is a silky smooth playmaker with two-way potential. He has the size to be a genuine defensive threat and the skill set to be among the most shifty ball handlers in the NBA. His lack of burst will likely be offset by his off-the-dribble creation, and Miami's gritty style of play could also benefit his development. Miami's fourth-quarter struggles re-emerged as the Heat fell to the New York Knicks on March 17. During his post-game news conference, head coach Erik Spoelstra admitted that right now, he's struggling to find a solution to the team's inability to find another gear. That's the thing that we've been racking our time, our brains, everything, trying to find solutions for that, Spoelstra said via Anthony Chang of the Miami Herald. We have not come up with solutions and we've pretty much tried everything. That's why I said, I haven't been able to come up with solutions for that. This has been one of the biggest challenges of a regular season that I've been a part of. And we just have to stay the course. Miami must find a way to close out games. Toughness and grit have been a calling card of the Heat under Spoelstra. As such, it's logical to remain optimistic about Miami's ability to turn things around. However, it's also realistic to understand that may not occur until after some roster moves in the summer. Miami's March 15th loss to the Memphis Grizzlies followed a similar pattern. Spoelstra's team crumbled down the stretch, further amplifying the current struggles the franchise is facing. During his post-game news conference, Spoelstra questioned his team's competitive spirit. "We lost our competitive spirit there in the second half," Spoelstra said. "Enough has been said in the locker room, but we have a certain standard of how we expect to play and compete. We did not meet that standard tonight. When we meet that standard, it doesn't mean that we're going to win. Obviously, we're struggling to figure out how to win games, but last night, versus the Boston Celtics, we met a standard from a competitive standpoint tonight we did not." Udonis could undoubtedly be a player to help turn Miami's fourth-quarter woes around. He's already an experienced professional due to his time in Europe. His scoring, playmaking, and overall basketball IQ would be core additions to an ailing rotation. Of course, Pat Riley and the Heat will undoubtedly face a battle to land Udonis, as he may not be on the board by the time Miami is able to make a draft pick. Udonis Haslem questions if Jimmy Butler's success with Warriors will last through the playoffs. "It's like a shot of whiskey right now." Former Miami Heat star Jimmy Butler is thriving with his new team, the Golden State Warriors. Across 16 games played with Golden State thus far, he's contributing across the board. He's averaging 16.8 points, 5.8 rebounds, 5.9 assists and 1.3 steals per game. More importantly, the Warriors have been stacking up wins since acquiring Butler before the trade deadline. Golden State has lost just 2 games with Butler in the lineup and has steadily risen up the Western Conference standings over the last month. Whether or not the Warriors would even qualify for the play-in tournament was seemingly up in the air earlier on in the season. Now, Golden State is 10 wins above the .500 mark, and the number 2 seed in the West is within reach. Heat legend Udonis Haslem admitted that Butler has provided the Warriors with a shot in the arm, but he also reminded folks that the 2025 NBA playoffs haven't started yet. "This is no Jimmy hate, but I will that the record has been a little bit favorable to Golden State right now," Haslem said of the quality of the Warriors' competition of late. "I'm looking at the record of the teams that they've played, and we're talking about 312 wins to 364 losses. I would argue that some of these teams they probably could have beat without Jimmy. Now, Jimmy has given them a boost. It's like a shot of whiskey right now, but we'll see if it lasts throughout the playoffs." Butler and the Warriors saw their 7-game winning streak get snapped on Monday against a Denver Nuggets team that was missing its 2 best players in big man Nikola Jokic and guard Jamal Murray. Aaron Gordon picked up the slack from a scoring standpoint with Jokic and Murray sidelined, as he scored a season-high 38 points while shooting 14 of 23 from the floor and 4 of 6 from three-point range. The Warriors suffered an embarrassing loss, however Butler seemingly wasn't to blame for the team coming up short. He was maybe the best player on the floor for Golden State in that game, considering he totaled team highs in points and rebounds. Monday marked the Warriors' first loss since March 1, but as Haslem hinted, Golden State played plenty of subpar opponents during its winning streak. Golden State started off its winning streak with a win over the lowly Charlotte Hornets and earned victories over the Brooklyn Nets and Portland Trail Blazers during that stretch as well. The Warriors have yet to have an opportunity to prove that they can advance deep into the playoffs with Butler in the fold, but they have 2 of the better playoff performers of this generation in Butler and Stephen Curry. Butler helped the Heat reach 2 NBA Finals earlier in the decade with his spectacular play, while Curry is a 4-time NBA champion. And you fan? What do you think about Udonis Haslem situation? Write to us in the comments.